Hey guys, it's me, POE Exile, and today I'm gonna be showing you a build where you can survive every content of Path of Exile, this 3.6 betrayal, and I think you can use this in Synthesis too. This is called the Survivalmentalist, which I balanced defense and regen, recharge, and what do you call this? Damage. So as you can see, you can face tank this trial and every trap. Even if you're a noob like me, you could get along with this character and you can survive. So yeah, more of the showcase. So first, a little bit of introduction. This is a self-cast arc build, Elementalist, in which I have energy shield regen, energy shield recharge, and life leech. And of course, life leech is applied to energy shield. So if you put that into perspective, we have energy shield recharge of 1800 and energy regen. It means that even if you're hit, you will still regen. So energy regen for 1500. And life leech, which will be leached as energy shield, 1500. So if you put that, my theory is you'll get 4500 recharge, regen, and leech for a second, but that's not the case. I was experimenting about this, and I saw that it's not about all regen, because if you do not balance it with your defense and your life or ES, or with your damage, then it's futile. You cannot kill the boss and the boss cannot kill you. So I just refreshed my theory and put another weapon and shield. So first I used a dagger and a shield. So the dagger boosts my regen, recharge, and leech, and my ES to 8000, but you know, the damage is not boosting. So I use double daggers, slowing my regen and my recharge, and the life leech is still there, but you know, you have a maximum life leech per second, even though you can leech 1500. So the damage is good, but the problem is mana, because arc is a mana hungry spell. So what I did is, yeah, I am looking for this mana problem, even though I'm using Warlord's Mark and mana leech linked with my Herald of Thunder. It doesn't do much justice for my mana. My mana is still depleting, and especially for bosses who do not have curse on hit. When you cannot curse the boss, your mana damage, turned into mana is very difficult. So what if I put more nodes in the passive tree for mana, then there is not enough to balance ES and damage. So what did I do? First, as you can see, I'm face tanking this boss, and this is Crimson Temple, I think, and it shows that my regen and recharge is good. This is without mana leech, without life leech first, because I'm not attacking at first. So yeah, so what I did is I experimented more into the regen recharge before the mana. So as you can see, I'm not bleeding. Bleeding is not an issue for me because of the recharge and regen and life leech. And the spiky monsters, physical damage, yeah, I could survive it. So yeah, I am trying to experiment more for defenses and life first, before clearing up my mana problems. And yeah, as you can see, this can hold. Of course, you will always die if you do not move, but it's indicative of the defense or the recharge that I got. So yeah, as you can see here, the damage is not good enough. It's a respectable damage for Arc, but yeah, it's not good enough to kill Uber Elder. It's just for Shaper and Red Map Elder. This time I used more ES for this build. As you can see, there are more ES, more regen, more life leech, and more recharge. So you could go about with this syndicate and live to tell the tale. But the damage is not that good. So here I think I got just 400,000 DPS, and my mana leech and my mana problem is still there. But as you can see, you can survive this just by patiently shocking them and hitting them. So yeah, it's not a good clearing for syndicate for higher tier maps, but you could survive this. That's what I thought. So as you can see here, I finished the syndicate without any problem, without any dying, and yeah, I went on. So here we can see that I'm face tanking another boss, and my ES and my recharge and everything is working, and I have cast when damage taken linked with my frost wall and my lightning golem and stone golem. My lightning golem helps me with the cast speed, so more cast speed, more damage. If you could attack or cast a spell, like if just 400,000, and if you can cast it 2 times, 3 times for a second, so it would multiply to 1.2 million, right? But the problem is mana. As you can see, I'm having problems with mana, but the survival build is there, and you could live to tell the story. So this is one of the showcase of the build, and yeah, what I've tried next is to use this in faster damage bosses like this one. So you could see that my recharge is not proccing, it's not recharging as fast, but the regen is doing its job. So without life leech and without recharge, you can see that I am surviving because of the regen, the ES regeneration per second. So yeah, I'm still theorizing, theory crafting this build. So yeah, look, I almost died there, but you can survive this if you're not as dumb as me playing POE. So yeah. So by having this build, what are the perks of this build? You get of course ES regen, recharge, and everything like that. But you are also immune to poison and bleeding. Of course, you still bleed, but it's just mitigated as the bleeding. You can see your life go down slower, so you could could prevent it more than the bleeding that will just let you die in a second. So poison, bleeding, and chaos damage. So as you can see, this boss is is a harmless boss for this build, and you can survive this too. And if you are as dumb as me playing POE, you could survive this boss by just standing around, and if you're hitting and you're leeching, and it's good. So this is good for mapping and surviving bosses, and for I think everything. It can do every content in this POE game. So yeah, still showcasing my build so you could get a lot more ideas on how this build works. You just have to cap your resistances, and being an elementalist, you are not, you can see that you can survive this also. This is boss again, and yeah, most of the builds are life leech and attack builds that leech life, but this is something that even if you're not attacking, your regen, your recharge, and you can life leech also, which helps, and you will succeed in surviving this. So another showcase. So let me go to the next one. So what are the cons of this build? The cons of this build is for now mana, but I'm sure I'll get the formula for it and show you guys later in this video, because I managed to fix that. And stuns. If you are not casting, then you'll be dead, right? So casting is a problem if you're stunned, and being frozen. So being frozen, being stunned, you can use the passive tree or some items to do that. Well, as you can see from my last videos, I'm using Arc and defeated all the Guardians, Shaper, Elder, but not Uber Elder. So in this build, you can see that you could survive the attacks, except the powerful attack where he slams the ground. But if you're playing safe with this build, see, I'm dead. If you're playing safe with this build, then you could see that you can kill every content of this game without dying. Because I am a noob, I was just, I am still figuring out things, and the mechanics of the game, and the bosses, how they react, how they move. So this is a perfect showcase for someone who is just a beginner, just like me. And I'm telling you guys that even though you do not memorize the boss's skills and faces, you could pretty much play this game with this build for the first time and able to kill them with 1 or 2 portals. So yeah, I'm sorry about this trade. I got no more videos to showcase, and I'm recording this just by having this trade. So yeah, as you can see, you can see my items. I started with a Pledge of Hands, and then crafted my own staff, and then got mana problems, high DPS, so I switched to a dagger and a shield, and now I switched on to 2 daggers. So I put mana regeneration from those daggers, and yeah, the speed is okay. The cast speed, I can hit like 4 to 5 times per second, but the problem is the DPS became 370,000. So if you have 370,000 per 4 times per second, then it's good. So yeah, what is my problem here? Why did I change this? Is because I gave up, I sacrificed a little bit of damage for cast speed and my mana. The problem is my mana, my ES regeneration and my ES leech is not that good. So what did I do next? So I theory craft everything first, and went to basics again. What is the problem to be balanced to everything? Well, first I challenged this boss again, and As you can see, this is just the second portal of this, maybe third because I've traded. But um, once I defeated this boss, and you can memorize the the skills and the powers he has. But you could learn from your mistakes because you survived that, because you have this build. And you cannot see the phase 2, or you cannot see the powers of the boss if you are dead, right? So this is a learning build, so you could you could learn from your mistakes, and the second time around you could survive, and you could kill this. So I'm just gonna fast forward this so you can see that I didn't die. So being CI have perks, like you can stay at the dark for 9 seconds before your life will be depreciated. Your life will become affected by the darkness. You have 9 seconds, so that is plus 9. So you could just move around, and you have a healthy ES pool, and with those 9 seconds added, it is a better way of surviving delve. Imagine that you would not refill flares every time you go to every time an area has been completed, because you spent a little less of those flares, and you could survive without dying in higher tier, deeper delve, because you survive because you have a healthy ES pool, and you could survive darkness much longer, plus 9 seconds. Imagine that. So as you can see here, this is a build which you could survive everything the game is giving to you. Well, not everything, of course, because you have a map. You have mods that you cannot regenerate life, but you could still survive that because you have life leech, which can give you more ES, and you still have your recharge. So yeah, so as you can see here, we got 9 seconds before your life deplete. So yeah, because of the regen and your so yeah, you could have a fun time with this build in delve. So this one, I let my little boy play Path of Exiles, and as you can see, you are also you are not affected by chaos. You damage. You are not affected by bleeding. Yes, you are affected, but it is really slow. And the darkness gives you 9 seconds before your life depletes. And as you can see here, you are not burning. Your life is not affected, because you're like immune to burning ground. I didn't put it in my build, but I think the regeneration per second is fighting with the debuff or the damage of the fire. So as you can see, you are not affected by the burning ground. I think this is not a burning ground. This is much more damaging than the burning ground. So yeah, this is one of the perks of this build. And the last showcase is, if you can do everything in this game by playing safe or surviving it, you can still have fun because you could play this with party. You can survive parties with ease because as you can see here, I'm showcasing a party I made in burial grounds, and you have a decent. This is the final form of this build. You have a decent damage. You have a decent ES, and I switched to bow and quiver. We got more ES recharge per second. It's not the rate, it's the start of the occurrence of the recharge, wherein your recharge will start immediately after 0.5 I think seconds, because I'm using a quiver that gives me a boost of the start of the region occurrence. The mana is controlled now. I'm not having problems with my mana. Sometimes when bosses are not cursed, yes, but it's the regeneration is quite okay. And as you can see, I'm bleeding now, but there's no life damage. So before it damages you for a couple of seconds, you can use your bleeding flask, or the curse will wear off before it even damages you. So you could stay on that on that area where the what they call this shaper or shaper's orb is, and you will not be affected by it. So it has a lot more to to give, and you could survive every map with this one. And since enemies are tougher with by having a party, you can survive that too. You can instead of using the bridgestones to level up to level 100, you can use parties and you won't die. So you can host parties and you won't die. I've dodged that fireball, but even that fireball hits me, you're gonna be alive. So yeah. And one good thing about this build is, you could pretty much face tank tier 11 and below bosses. Of course, not every boss, but if you play it safe, again, depends upon your skills, then you should be able to, to survive that. Like this one, 2 bosses, and yeah. You can see you can just stand around and use your arc and just wait for for them to die. So that's one of the showcase, my last showcase. So for the build proper, here it is. I'm using a bow and a quiver, a helmet with an enchant, a high ES body armor. But before all of this, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm using. This is important: the All's Uprising Onyx Amulet and the Vivinsect Insect Ring. So what this gives us is you have Wrath reserves no mana. This is important for us because my auras are Wrath, Herald of Thunder, Discipline, Vitality, and Clarity. So yeah, I'm using All Surprising because of this. It may cost you about somewhere like 2 exalts and above, but this is needed for the build. If you are not using this, then you have to sacrifice for your regen, or for mana, or for your curses on hit, or from your vitality. This is for your DPS. Now, I'm using Vivinsect Insect Ring because this gives us +5 to level of Socketed Aura Gems. So our Wrath now is like level 26 because of this, and it reserves no mana. And what this Vivinsect does is it gives you a little bit of resistances, but being a survival mentalist, it gives you 15 life regenerated per second for each uncrafted item equipped. So as you can see here, I don't have any item equipped which is corrupted, so it helps a lot. So it stacks up, and the percentage of the regeneration is up because of this. So my main weapon is bow. Before I was using Pledge of Hands, which has level 30 spell echo and a little bit of cast speed. So I thought it would be a 7 link, but the problem is mana. I had problems with mana, and I did a low life then. And now, before that, I was using staff. This staff is powerful because if you put your arc here, your arc and your empower, as you can see, your arc will be level 28. So it gives you that much DPS. I have a video before which has 1.1 million DPS, and if you boost your cast speed up to 2, 3, or 4, it can damage 4 million damage per second. But you got a problem with low life. You're not CI build before. You got a problem with low life, and you got problem with mana. Now I used after this I used one dagger. So I thought to myself, I could find a dagger which is like a 6 link like this one. You have a critical strike, you have faster casting and control destruction, and you have a little bit of cast speed because you need that, critical strike chance, because you have a control destruction, which gives you less reduced critical strike chance. So this is helpful for a 6 link what do you call this, a setup, and it gives you flat lightning damage and percentage of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. So this one is very nice, and I partnered it with another with a shield which has spell damage, energy shield, maximum to cold resistance for defenses, cast speed again, energy shield, and quality. So yeah, this is 45 quality and more energy shield. But the problem is I cannot stack a higher DPS. I got like 8600, 8700 ES, and as you can see in the showcase, it's a very good, you know, a very good survivability method. But of course we are looking for DPS, so I ditched this. So I'll just ditch this and this one because we're finished about that, and I put 2 weapons instead. So more crit chance, more spell damage, more intelligence for our energy shield, more percentage of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage, more attack speed, cast speed I mean, and another bonus is 10% chance to gain arcane surge. So it really boosts your DPS. So my cast speed is good, everything is good here, and I had a problem with mana. Again, the higher the DPS you have, the higher your mana cost is. For arc, it's like 127 at that time. So now it's 74. So what I did is before that, you can replace this Vivinsect unsettling with an essence worm. This is cheaper You can get this for a little bit of 1 chaos or something like that. Gives you +2 level of socketed aura gems. Your wrath will not reserve any mana. The problem is it's 40 increased mana reserve, but it's okay, because if you can use this, the 40 increased mana reserve, I think it's not for it's not a general thing. It's just for wrath. Unlike this one, socketed gems have 10 increased mana reservation. So no. So this one is just for wrath, but this one is the global thing. It's for all of your mana reserve. So I ended up using this one rather than this one. So yeah. And before, when I was not CI build, I was using this because this has an enchant of 40% increased arc damage. It has +2 level of socketed aura gems, gives you evasion and a little bit of resistance. So the main thing here is you cannot be frozen. So the 2 cons of this build is stun and being frozen. So you cannot be frozen. This is a good helmet. And it gives you 8% reduced mana reserve. So you could play with auras that you wanted to put in your build. But I went to this helmet because it has more energy shield. That's it. I even crafted crappier mods for it, just for it to be an energy shield and for the resistances. So let's go back to the weapon. So this weapon, I use this because it has chance to deal double damage. The attack speed is not useful. It has +2 to level of socketed supported gems, so everything but arc is +2, as you can see here. Even the empower, so the empower, instead of giving you +3, it will give you +5 of the supported active skill gems. So the empower helps only arc. So from level 28, now we are level 26 arc, but the DPS is good. Still, as you can see, you're still losing mana, but after 12 hits, 10 to 12 hits before it depletes, and that's without curse on hit, that's without mana leech, that's without warlord's mark. So yeah. So this weapon, I've put 73 increased lightning damage, so more lightning damage, increased lightning damage, so in 18% increased cast speed, and a chance to shock, because if you go to your path of building, you can see that if you shock an enemy and you're using a passive, you're using this tree, and you can use where is it? Let's just put shock. So there's an increased effect of shock, chance to shock, shock duration, and there is increased damage with hits against frozen, shocked, or ignited enemies. So it boosts your DPS a lot. We'll go there from here after I finish this, the passive tree, I'm saying. So yeah. So you need that chance to shock, and of course we have a 10% to chance to gain Arcane Surge when you kill an enemy, and a little bit of added chaos damage, which is 22% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. So the only thing that is not useful here is the attack speed, because you don't need the attack speed, but you know, beggars cannot be choosers, right? So yeah, my setup here is arc, lightning penetration, even though I have Herald of Thunder, Curse on its support with conductivity, which gives you -44 to lightning resistance. This still gives you it penetrates 40% lightning resistance, and it deals another lightning damage. So instead of using more crit to balance the control distraction, I used lightning penetration instead, because more penetration is more fun. That's what they said. And I'm using spell echo support. My spell echo support is +2 levels from item, and it gives you more cast speed. It's 72% cast speed. So even though you have a little bit of a DPS, less than 500,000 or something like that, when you cast more, you damage more in a second. So it will be a damage per second, as you can calculate it. So yeah, I didn't have any level 21. I can Baal this if you want. Let's see if we could break this. I don't have a Baal yet, so yeah, maybe next time. Spell echo support. The problem with spell echo support, if your cast speed is slower, when you are fighting Elder or Shaper, when you hit, example, this is Elder, and you hit like that, and your cast speed is slower, you will stand your ground for 1 second. It means that if you are hitting him and he turned, he faces you and then hits you, you cannot use your flame dash that fast, because spell echo repeats your cast. So if you have lower cast speed, spell echo is not the best idea, because it will make you stand your ground until you cast that second spell. Now that I have more cast speed, the spell echo is viable for this build. The next one is faster casting support. So as you can see, I've made a faster casting build, and it boosts my DPS, because the more you cast, the more damage, right? So it's what they call this. It's given. This is given. Control destruction support, because of the more spell damage, we need that. And this is level 21 and has 20 qualities. So supported skills deal 10% increased spell damage. The problem here is you reduced your critical strike chance, but it's okay. So the next one is empower. So yeah, as I've mentioned before, it gives you +5 level of supported active skill gems because of the bow, which gives you +2 to level of sacketed supported gems. So for the helmet, I've discussed this before. You just need 40% increased arc damage enchantment, or your arc can chain an additional time. So I don't know the number, maybe 1 or 2, but those are the best enchantments that you can get for your helmet. So for this setup, I have cast when damage taken support, just for level 5, to proc when I'm damaged, my stone golem, which helps me with my regeneration, my lightning golem, which helps me with my cast speed, and face run. So why face run? Because I'm using this for delving also, and face run gives you, gives you 50% reduced visibility to enemies. You have increased movement speed. You have yeah, you have that. So it's a nice feature that you can add to your character for defensive purposes. So then the next one is Owl's Uprising Amulet. I've discussed this before, and yeah, and the ring also, I've discussed this before. So the next one is the other ring. So what did I do? I looked for attributes like strength for my vitality, because my vitality gem needs 159 strength. So I looked for strength, a little bit of resistances, a little bit of mana. This is a mana-ish ring. So you have increased mana regeneration rate, 20% faster start of energy shield recharge, another mana, reduced mana cost of skills, and minus to total mana cost of skills. So this helps me a lot with my arc, my mana hungry arc. So from 127 I made it into 74. So you can cast at least 10 to 12 arc before depleting your mana, but that's without Warlord's Mark or Mana Leech. So the next one is my gloves. So I went to enchant this with trigger commandment of Thunder skill. So what is this what they call this gloves. This gloves gives me a little bit of energy shield, and I just capped my resistances because of this, because as you can see, cold resistance is like 40%, your lightning resistance is 65%, and your fire resistance is like 20% for this one. So yeah, this is just for the resistances and the energy shield. I didn't needed any more socketed items or supported by this one or anything like that, or cast speed, because this was the last one that I've I've got before making this the set of build. So yeah, we have enlightened support for the discipline and vitality, because if you remove enlighten, as you can see, it's 134. It's just a couple of cast and then you're done. But this helps with the mana reservation of discipline and vitality. And I put decoy totem here, so that I can use this when I'm using it against bosses and other stuff. So yeah, it's a given. So my belt is it has lightning damage, it has energy shield, and the good thing about this is you have 14% increased energy shield from body armor. So the more body armor you have, I believe, is you have more energy shield. So I put in my multiple crafted modifiers. I crafted a little bit of armor, energy shield again, and the remaining of the lightning resistances that I was lacking. And since this is a Stygian Vice, you get a little bit of more flat energy shield, a little bit of elemental resistances, and yes, a chance to hinder enemies 6% with spells to reduce their movement speed. I think I crafted this with resonators with dense fossils, metallic fossils. That's all. Just two socketed. I didn't have the the numbers are high or is lucky. So the next one is the boots. The boots is I have this aspect of the spider. I was using it before for more DPS, but it's not working for me. So what I am utilizing this for is for the maximum energy shield, because you have a 48 flat and 99% increased energy shield, a little bit of resistance, movement speed, and yeah, dexterity, because if you're looking for dexterity for the whole build, the best way to look for dexterity is the boots. So dexterity and yeah, the quality. And my enchantment is 10% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. So yeah, it helps me with delving and farming and everything else. So what my gem setup here is cast 1 damage again, linked with Immortal Call and Frost Wall. So every time I'm hit, I summon 2 golems and Frost Wall. You'll get used to frost wall because some people do not like cast when damage linked with frost wall because they get confused. But when frost wall is summoned, I tend to just press my space bar because your flame dash can go through the frost wall. So yeah, it helps you when you are stunned or frozen. That's why I'm using this. And yes, flame dash. I'm using flame dash. So before I was using this belt, before this Stygian Vice, but this has more flat energy shield. It is like 147 something energy shield, and it's full of resistances, and you have evasion. This is a good belt, but because I am suffering with DPS before, I use this. This has more energy shield, I think, because it has the energy shield from body armor and flat energy shield, and you have a lightning damage on this one. So my last, no, the second to the last is the Soul Strike Spike Point Arrow Quiver. It helps me again with the critical strike chance, with dexterity, chaos damage to attacks, but my spell is not an attack, so I'm not using that, and the attack speed. But you get 104 to maximum energy shield, which is very useful to you. 80% faster start of energy shield recharge, which is most helpful to you. But it gives you 40% reduced energy shield recharge rate. So it's okay, because if you are leeching and if you are regenerating and you are not dependent to just the recharge, then this is okay. The recharge rate is not if you have 4000 recharge rate and you cannot recharge, then good luck, right? But yeah, I think this is just 1000 plus energy shield recharge rate, but the start is 152%, as you can see here. So it's 152%. So if you go to the POE wiki, you can see that the 200% is is what we are aiming for. But for me, that is impossible for now, without sacrificing the damage and everything else, mana, of course. So I have energy shield recharge per second of 1431. I have an energy shield of 8000. I have a mana regeneration. This is not the number because you have leech and everything, of mana leech and everything. You have energy shield regen per second. This is even though you are hit, you are still regenerating 1000. So if you have a regeneration of 1000, then if you have a recharge per second of 1400, and if you have a life leech from lightning damage, which is 1500, which is you will see in the path of building, I think you will be alive. You will survive. So yeah, that's the reason I went from dagger to a bow. And the final thing is the body armor. I got this from Delve, and I thought, oh wow, this is I didn't knew this armor before I picked it up in Delve. So I saw that it has evasion and energy shield, it has flat energy shield, it has resistances, and what I'm looking for is mana gained on kill. So I crafted I think I bought this one because this is cheaper, this is not what they call that. This does not give you headaches farming for this one. This is an easier find or an easier buy. So what I did, as you can see, my energy shield here is 570 and a little bit of flat evasion rating. So, and a little bit of armor, which helps us with our belt. So the setup here is I have a Herald here and Curse on hit support. And my Herald and Curse on hit support curses enemies with conductivity and Warlord's Mark. So you have conductivity and full Warlord's Mark. So yeah, you still have an endurance charge when you kill an enemy. You have the cursed enemies. You have life leech, which gives you more ES, and cursed enemies grant 2% of mana leech when hit. And I've linked mana leech support also because as you can see here, Herald of Thunder supports mana leech support. So the damage of my Herald of Thunder has curse of lightning resistances on enemies. I have mana leech and I get mana leech again. So it makes up like 4% of damage leeches mana, and 50% increase mana leech per second. And the last one is clarity, because it's all about mana. These gems are all about mana. Mana leech, Warlord's Mark, of course this is 4H for ES2, and clarity. So I don't have a problem with mana as of now. So yeah, I was using this armor before because it gives me life per abyss, dual affecting and maximum mana. So I was trying to to theory craft on that, and I was using this one too. This one has 446 energy shield. It has flat energy shield, intelligence, increased energy shield percentage, a little bit of cold resistance because I'm lacking cold resistance before, and an additional curse. So what this additional curse helps us is that it makes Warlord's Mark and conductivity on curse on hit effective at the same time when you hit an enemy. So I was using this before, so yeah, now I'm using this because of the mana gained on kill, the resistances, and to the energy shield. So I was able to get 8,000 energy shield because of that. So for the flasks, I'm using this one because this gives me immunity to bleeding, and it's a mana flask when I'm hitting an enemy and then I'm hitting them for a very long time. The damage won't be able to retain the mana leech. Maybe after I hit them 20 times and you don't leech, this helps. And for your bleeding, of course, because some enemies have corrupted blood inflicted on me. So yeah, this one is for the freeze and stuns. That's it. And as you can see, I didn't need any more flasks because I was running Delve and running parties, so I used 3 Rot Guts. But before I was using this one because it has immunity to freeze and chill, and it gives me movement speed. And this one, Vessel of Binktar, because you have more DPS when using this, and you have 20% of lightning damage leeches life during flask effect. So this is like your life flask for your build. But since I am not using this for the moment, I am not surviving heavy duty bosses, these flasks are the ones I'm using. But preferably you can always use this for this one and use this for this one. So yeah. Okay, now for my what do you call this, Pantheon. So I'm using this one, physical damage, because when you're elementalist you are prone to physical damage um, more to physical damage. You are more damaged by physical attacks or physical damage. So yeah, I'm using this, and this one for my regen. So why regen? Because of the second line, Queen of the Great Tangle. 50% increased recovery rate of life energy if you've stopped taking damage over time recently, which you are also always on damage over time when you're using this build, because you mitigated everything and damage over time is your problem, right? And yeah, that's why I think the damage over time, when you are hit by damage over time, the 50% increased recovery rate of life and energy shield, your energy shield and life will reach 50% faster, and that's why you are you're like immune to damage over time because of this, because of your high regeneration rate and recovery rate. So the third one is reduced effect of shock on you and shock duration. It is good for this one because you are shocked during flash effect, causing 50% increased damage taken. So this goes well with the third line. And case resistance against damage over time. I was not CI before that. That's why I did that. I captured Armala the Widow. So yeah. And okay. Sorry for my OCD. I forgot to refill my portals and scrolls. The last thing is the skill tree. So we're gonna be looking at this first. This one, Paragon of Calamity, it's because the elemental damage is leech as life. That's it. And reflected damage, of course. This is very helpful for us. But before I was using this for the DPS, but I've decided to put it here. This one is for the golems that I have, because your lightning golems gives you faster cast speed when it's up, and your stone golem gives you more regenerated life if it's up. And yeah, because of the 25% increased effect of buffs granted by your golems for each summoned golem, so you summon 2. I can go here for a better regen and a better faster casting, but I've decided, not to depend on my golems because they die a lot, even though they are immune to elemental resistances, but they die a lot. So I went to Paragon of Calamity because your elemental damage can leech as life. So the next one is Pendulum of Destruction. It is it is obvious here. Elemental damage, area of effect, and the Mastermind of Discord. It's because you have 24% lightning penetration when you have Herald of Thunder, which I have. So 25 increase effect of heralds on you, and reduced mana reservation of herald skills. That's why we can have a 5 combo, 5 combo auras here. So I didn't went to Mind Over Matter because I have a low mana, but everything is everything's good. So what I did is I went to energy shield, mana reservation, mana regeneration, and everything. I went for this one because of the strength and dexterity, and avoid interruption from stuns while casting, because it's very annoying when you are interrupted while you are casting. You cannot cast, you will die, you cannot move and everything. So I went up here and went here. This is just for energy shield. When you are building this character, you just go here first and up to here, but you just disregard this because this is for the end game. You do not have anything useful here because you need dexterity and strength for the end game. Your chaos and annihilation is for end game. Your Ghost River is for endgame, and this one is for your energy shield recharge, which you can get here, and you can just respect 3 of them later when you have, you know, finished the game. But this one is, you know, this is not practical to have when you are still in acts. So you go here. So why minion deals damage? Because like my video before, we'll get there. This can wait until the end game too, or you can just, you know, do this. Well, you can level up with arc in the storyline, but you know, you could level it with arc traps or just arc alone. But the main problem for me when leveling with arc before with the acts is mana. So you have to balance it first. So I went to mana here and more energy shield here. This is for the end game too. You can apply an additional curse because I ditched my body armor of my additional curse, so I have to go through this for my Leech of Mana Warlord's Mark and my Lightning Penetration. And yeah, just strength and dexterity here, and minion damage here, dexterity and cast speed, and then life regeneration per second, because when you use Zealot's Oath, life regeneration is applied to energy shield. So this one helps because it has mana regeneration rate and more percentage of life regenerated per second, which goes to your energy shield. And these are just for the mana cost of skills and mana reservation, and that's it. One thing I did is for me to use the spiritual aid, which gives increases and reduction to minion damage, also affects you, so it helps me. All the minion damage nodes in the passive tree, minion damage. Oh, come on. Sorry about that. Minion damage. So all the minion damage nodes on your tree, except this one, of course. You just have to read it. And this one, minion damage. It helps you with your, you know, with your DPS. Here you can see that my minion damage modifier is 104%. So 104% of minion damage is stacked up with your DPS for your lightning damage. So yeah, that is why I didn't go for more of shock, because I'm not using Impulsa. I didn't use more lightning damage, increased lightning damage, and yeah, I just use more cast speed and minion damage for this one. So yeah, this is the main you know, a good jewel for you if you can find it, the Watcher's Eye. This is a hybrid because it's lightning damage while affected by wrath, increased lightning damage. You have 37 faster start of energy shield recharge while affected by discipline, and with this one you can get over 100%, right? Because this is 80% fast start of energy shield recharge and plus 37, so it's 100 plus. We have 152% and 2.3 of maximum energy shield regenerated per second while affected by this discipline. So if you are affected by discipline, yeah, you have 2.3% of maximum energy. The more maximum energy you have, the more regenerated energy shield that you will have while you are affected by discipline. So this is a good gem. If you do not have any of this gem, well, at least have lightning damage of the lightning damage of wrath, or you could have the mix of discipline and vitality effects of Watcher's Eye. So the next jewel that we have is, I have increased cast speed with lightning skills, a little bit of percentage of maximum energy shield, reduced mana cost, and another cast speed. This one is cast speed again with lightning skills, percentage of energy shield recharge, and maximum energy shield, a little bit of resistance, and reduced mana cost of skills. Before I was using this one, a minion deals 5% increased damage because as you remember that we have spiritual aid, and we have 2% of life regenerated per second, and we have Zealot's Oath. But the problem is you have 10% increased damage taken, so 10% of increased damage taken is a lot. The next one is, I'm using this before. It has 5% increased damage because it's corrupted. Chaos damage to attacks is not useful to us, but we have flat plus 50 to maximum energy shield, and you have facing. But if you have face run, why do you need facing, right? So yeah, I ditched that, and I'm using this. It's it's a budget gem, which gives you a little bit of crit chance because you need crit chance because of the reduced crit chance from the control destruction. You have reduced mana cost of skills, skill effect duration, and 2% reduced mana reserve, partnered with these fellows right here, and you have like 6, 10, 14 plus 2, so 16% reduced mana reserve. So yeah, but the important thing is these 2 jewels. I think this jewel is like you cannot be cursed with silence, which is helpful for spellcasters. You have a little bit of increased maximum energy shield, but this one is we need this one. Increases and reduction to life and radius are transformed to apply to energy shield, which is, if you remove this, you have 10% increased maximum energy shield and 6% increased maximum life. So you don't need that life, right? But if you put this, your life radius will turn into an energy shield. Your 10% energy shield and 6% maximum life turns into 16% maximum energy shield, which is very helpful for you if you are an ES build. So 8%, 8%, and 8%. Because all the large nodes for the energy shield are just here. 20 flat, 14 and 18. Yeah, so this helps you a lot with your energy shield pool. And the last one that I'm using is this one. So this is a Transcendent Mind Cobalt Jewel. It's not cheap, but it's not that it's not that high of value when you are buying it. So -1 intelligence per 1 intelligence on allocated passive in radius. It will lower your ES because of the -1 intelligence, but the thing is you have 0.4 of energy shield regenerated per second for every 10 intelligence on allocated passive in radius. What does that mean? It means that every intelligence allocated in your radius, every 10 intelligence, it will grant you, every 10 of these will grant you 0.4 of energy shield regen per second. That's why our regen is high. So if I fill this up, and this 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 7 times 0.4 is a lot of regen, right? So you wouldn't have to reach here for your 1% life regen per second, and you won't have to go here for the life regen nodes. This will probably do most of the job for traveling, unlike traveling here. So yeah, that's my passive tree. And what else? Yeah, this one. Life leech is applied to energy shield instead. So yeah, elemental damage is leeches life from our ascendancy. So yeah. So yeah, we have chaos resist. We are immune to chaos damage, damage over time, chaos damage over time. You just cap your resistances. You have energy shield regen per second. Your occurrence is 152. You have recharge per second here, and you have life leech. So everything is in path of building, and you can see my DPS there. Let me just take a look for a second. Wait, where is it? Okay, just gonna. Okay, here it is. So your so your DPS per second is like 569,000. That's your total DPS. But if you can cast 4 at a time, then it's 2 million, right? But if you can see here in your skills, if we have what do you call this? Arcane Surge. It doesn't say if it's what level, but if you have just like 0 level of Arcane Surge, then your total DPS is 753,000. And if you can cast that times 4 is how much is that? 771.4, 2.8. It's like almost 3 million. But we have another one because we have more what do you call this? We have more damage when we are shocking enemies. So if the enemy is shocked, we got 1.1 million. So if you can cast that 4 times in a row for a second, you got 4 million DPS. So yeah, that's the build, everyone, and I hope you can like and subscribe to my channel. And it's Pinoy Exile. So thank you.